Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Fuel prices expected to drop marginally in second pricing window starting from today. We'll bring you an update. Meanwhile, as that happens, tanker drivers declare a 3-day strike in Kumasi in Ashanti region. We'll assess the impact of this. Also on the program this afternoon, fire breaks out at Gushewu Midwifery College. Details shortly. Much later on the program, opposition MPP opens nominations for its national executive election slated for October 3, following conclusion of what it describes as a successful regional election over the weekend. Very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, if you're a direct consumer of petroleum product, you might want to heave a sigh of relief because there is an expected marginal drop in the prices of petroleum products starting from today in this month's second pricing window. This follows the easing of political tension in the Middle East, which has led to the drop in the prices of petroleum products. Brent crude, for instance, is currently selling at close to $90 per barrel. Let's get some more on this. I'm joined on the line now by Duncan Amwa. He's the Executive Director, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
I know the talks between the U.S. and Iran perhaps have contributed to this, but what else do you believe is accounting for this marginal drop of, we understand, 2.90%?
Let me be straight. What you have seen currently is not just a drop in petrol, but also a maintaining of a lot of the other indexes. Diesel prices were expected to go up by some 3%. The OMCs have decided to stay that price. And so when I look at petrol and they have declined a little on it, it gives me some confidence that indeed, true to the expectations by ourselves and of course COMAC, prices were going to be largely stable. But for those who use petrol, you'll be seeing about some 10-20% reduction from some of the OMCs. Although, as we speak this afternoon, a good number of OMCs have decided to stay their prices as they had it the first window of August. So prices would largely remain unchanged for a lot of the petroleum users across the country.
But how long should we expect this to last for?
As I indicated, this is a window that should have seen a mixed price bag where petrol would have gone down, diesel would have gone up. Fortunately, they decided that, well, we'll do a cross-pricing situation where we'll take a hit on diesel and then the little recoveries they could also make on petrol, they do that. But for some stations, they've even decided that even for petrol, they would decline a few pesos. That for me is positive. That could stay for the next 2 weeks if nothing changes drastically within the window. The city is also doing quite well as we speak. And so if things stay the same way, possibly prices could come down in a couple of days as well.
And looking at the fact that the U.S. and Iran are still talking, is there a possibility that even after this second window of 2 weeks, we could still see further decline if talks progress positively?
Again, look, I would be cautious about the situation in the Gulf or the Middle East. If you hear recent pronouncements by the President of the United States to the effect that they are planning to take the Strait of Hormuz as is it the 51st or 2nd state? It tells you that they probably are not too close to a deal as of yet, and the reason for which this war has dragged for 6 months might not be ending today, tomorrow. Fortunately, the government of Ghana has been responsive. If you recall the 2 cedi intervention it did put in, again, the government seemed to also be working very hard to ensure that the cedi does not depreciate. If those things are kept in check, then locally you may see prices fair or stable. As to expecting that it would decline to the 10, the 12 regions anytime soon, I think that we should not be overly optimistic. We shouldn't be.
All right, we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And you have Duncan Amwa. He's the executive director of COPEC. Meanwhile, as this happens, tanker drivers in Kumasi have begun a 3-day visit, sit-down strike, raising concerns over alleged inaccuracies in meter readings and inadequate parking facilities. The drivers say that discrepancies in the measurement of petroleum product are affecting their operations and resulting in financial losses. Ibrahim Abubakar is a man who is following this. He'll be joining us very shortly, but he spoke to some drivers earlier. Let's listen to exactly what they said.
MPA was seal bia sasino a new seal afa na aba na seal no ye de phone kra na bie nti se enya seal no APD tamawa o menya lodu wie na de seal boma ade se nipa na ba be bie ekuta no ese phone no bie wa seal ye sa nya shortage ye seal ye de aba no ye shotu yesu a na atwa go invoice na chi na ye ka awura fo na kwakote ye ye timi load every inside wa hetu inside wa na sortu. The police are now, yes, I say I load one of Nadia call another enter load no. He disguise point one near sort to. And he basically say, somebody and say Jim, and nobody and say Bossy. Mobasha, a coin who I a packet crown, Nancy a packet come about 2 months ago. Emma, Timaka ball, a cabacum, Petru Yamen Quacase, hanging Abashi. And easy, Tiapaka Kwanwa, Bona Municipal, Abeloco, a scrub municipal Abeloco say. Safety tanker any kwase jakwa kwa ho enso na mse boss omunya ma bia enko yenti asase ada ho eso omunya maye no omunya maye enti the product ne ba ne pa kwa ho be be do for beda omunya.
And you had the tanker driver speaking earlier to our Ashanti regional correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar about the challenges the drivers are facing, including lack of parking space. And we're speaking to Ibrahim Abubakar very shortly. But ahead of that, though, let's speak to Benjamin Insia. He is an energy expert. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
We just had a conversation with the executive director of COPEC about this marginal reduction in fuel prices and what we should be expecting in the next coming days. From where you sit, what would you tell us?
So I think that prices of diesel from various OMCs are likely going to be maintained. Because observing the market this morning, I've not seen any changes, especially the major players still are maintaining prices of the previous window, with the exception of Star Oil that I've seen them reduce the price of petrol by about 40 pesos. And I think they are doing so because of, one, the BDCs are maintaining their prices, or what they call the ex-depot price. So because the BDCs are maintaining the ex-depot price of diesel, they are doing what you call a pass-through effect at the pump, which we are also observing from the OMC. So price of diesel is likely going to stay same from various OMCs. But for the petrol, I think that there's likely going to be a reduction between 20 to 40 pesos per liter, depending on the OMC.
Let me ask you the same question I did ask Mr. Duncan Amwa about looking at the talks internationally between US and Iran, whether or not after the first 2 weeks, which is the second pricing window, there's a possibility that the next one could see a reduction as well.
The market is very unpredictable, it's uncertain. and very volatile. So it's quite difficult to determine what may happen in the next pricing window. But for the information available and the data available, I think the prices are likely going to stay same because today, if you observe Bloomberg Energy, the price of diesel is still around 1,250. Same price used by NPA to set this current window's price. So I think that if nothing changes, it means that the price of diesel is likely going to stay same. And in terms of policy intervention, it depends on government to decide whether they want our diesel price to be around 19 Ghana cedis or keep it around 17 Ghana cedis. The government decides that keeping it around 17, and for that matter, they are likely going to extend the intervention of waiving 2 Ghana cedis per litre of the price build-up of petrol. I think that it is good for the Ghanaian diesel consumer, and also good for the sustenance and stability, and then also growth and stability of the whole macroeconomy, because higher price of diesel also has an impact on the sustainability of our macroeconomy.
Now, in a separate development, though, we have fuel tanker drivers who have declared a 3-day strike in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. They cite inaccurate meter readings, safety concerns, as well as lack of parking lots for them. You know the market. What are the likely impacts based on what you know from the strike if they go ahead straight 3 days as they've threatened?
This is likely going to have a serious, severe impact on the UPPF because already the government has reduced its collection or even has subsidized it on the price of diesel. So if we are not getting products in Kumasi for zonal distribution to the areas around the greater Kumasi, it means that we are likely going to load most of the product from the southern part of the country to the middle belt and even some part of the northern sector, and it's likely going to put a lot of pressure on UPPF. We are likely going to face a deficit UPPF for the first time in about 7 years, and that is quite dangerous for the sustainable distribution of the product. So I think that calm should be promoted between all stakeholders, and then BOST uses better ways to addressing this particular challenge once and for all, because this challenge is not a surprise to us, or this strike is not a surprise to some of us. It's issues of shortages, which is also causing tanker owners to reduce their compensation and salaries to the tanker drivers. And this has been a whole issue. So I think that all stakeholders, including NPA, BOST, and tanker owners union, as well as the tanker drivers, should have a platform to resolve this matter once and for all before they put us into a crisis.
Which means that there's a possibility of fuel shortage for those who receive their supplies from the Ashanti region.
There may not be shortage, but there's likely going to be a distress on the UPPF because all products will be loaded from the southern part to these parts across the middle belt, and that is likely going to put the UPPF in deficit.
Ms. Ansia, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Okay.
And you have Benjamin Insia. He is an energy expert. Let's return to actually speak to our correspondent, Ibrahim Abubakar, who's been following up on this for us. Ibrahim, we've just had a tanker driver. We played his voice earlier telling us about the challenges, particularly lack of parking lot. What other concerns can you tell us about, why they've decided to declare the strike?
Well, Beatrice, those are their main concerns, the meter reading and also the parking lot, because for them, they do not understand why there will be trackers in the vehicle. There's also police escort. Then they move from Tema to Kumasi only for them to see shortages in the product. And anytime shortages are recorded, they will have to pay for it. And some drivers were saying there's sometimes shortages of 300 liters to 500 liters, even sometimes excess of 1,000 liters, and they will have to pay for all these things. And they have complained several times and nothing has been done. There have been instances where they move just within the yard, within the depot, not even outside. Then they will go back, check, and they will realize there is a drop in the petroleum product. So those have been their concerns because of the financial issue. And also concerning the parking lots, they also do not understand why BOST has a vast of land in Kumasi, but they are failing to develop it for them to park properly there. So currently you come to Kumasi, from Kase to where Bost is, you realize that most of these vehicles or tanker drivers have parked along the shoulders of the road. And this always raises safety concerns for road users and even the drivers themselves. Just last week or two ago, there was an articulated truck that even crashed into one of these vehicles. But not for the swift intervention of the Ghana Fire Service, there would have been an explosion around that enclave. So these are the concerns that they feel borders on not just financial but also safety issues. And for that matter, they just want authorities to give them some concrete assurance of taking steps to address some of these things so that they resume work. In fact, in the morning I saw some Bost officials engaging them, but they told them that the structures, the people who came there cannot do anything to help them or to address their concerns. And for that matter, they want to see those at the top to come to them, take their concerns and take steps to address them before they resume their services. For now, we are not seeing the shortages because it started today. But then, in an event, it goes beyond the 3 days. I'm sure that's where we begin to see some of these shortages because they are not offloading and they are not taking any load to even the northern part of the country.
All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar, my colleague in the Shanti region. Some 17 minutes past the hour of 12. Stay with us. We're back with more.
3FM Tour to Ghana 2026.
Brought to you by you.
2 days, 3 regions. From Accra through Pearl to Kumasi. Hundreds of kilometers of rhythm, road and discovery. Hundreds of riders expected. One national journey. This is more than cycling. This is Ghana in motion. 28th and 29th August. To register or participate, call or WhatsApp 0531 100927. Single 200 Ghana cedis. Group of 10 1,600 Ghana cedis. Group of 5 800 Ghana cedis. 3FM Tour to Ghana 2026. Ride the rhythm. Discover Ghana. Loading. Are you ready? 3FM Tour to Ghana 2026.
Brought to you by You Fresh Juice. Fratelli Calipo.
2 days, 3 regions. From Accra through Pearl to Kumasi. Hundreds of kilometers of rhythm, road and discovery. Hundreds of
7. Now, the opposition New Patriotic Party says is still on course in the reorganization of its party ahead of election 2028. This morning, the party opened nominations for its national executive election slated for October 3 after it concluded what it describes as a successful regional election over the weekend. We'll bring you an update from the MPP headquarters here in Accra. But first, here's a report on the just ended regional executive elections over the weekend, sent in by William Evans Inkum.
Mahamadou Bawumia of the NPP obtained 4,657,304, being 41.6%.
The NPP exit office with a pamphlet of lessons. To recapture power, the party needs a new transfusion stream. And it has to start from the base. The search for restoration inevitable, although a quagmire, but not insurmountable.
Political parties are like thick forests. When you look at an aerial view, it looks like the whole shade is together. But when you enter the forest on the ground, you realize that each tree stands on its own and some trees stand closer to others.
The party has a flag bearer, but a fractured structure from the grassroots would only make winning power a mirage. From the polling station, electoral area coordinators to constituency, the message was to retain key performers and substitute stale performers for fresh blood. Some battlegrounds were crucial in this mission of the opposition party. In the Greater Accra region, former Minister of Health and MP for Lejokuku, Bernard Okuboy, would have a mountainous task of regaining the 8 seats the NPP lost in the last election. In the Eastern region, Jeff Kennedy retained his chairmanship. Well, not surprising, having retained 24 out of 25 seats since 2020, which gives him over 95% performance rate. The biggest change is the Ashanti region, a reflection of what the flag bearer, according to his camp, has always wanted. A reformed base to guarantee Dr. Bawumia a massive support going into the 2028 election. Starting from the constituency level, the mission was a dominance.
We met expectation, or I would say that beyond expectation. And I'm happy, and the boss is happy, and Ashanti is happy.
William Evans Inkum brought us that report. Let's have a quick word from Dr. Samuel Afriye. He's a political science lecturer. He joins us live on the phone. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, Beatrice.
Your thoughts on the new crop of leaders and really whether or not what the party is looking forward to could come to fruition in 2028?
Yes, the election for all the regional executives is so interesting in terms of the kind of people that they have elected. When you look at the nationwide leadership, you realize that most of former executives were not elected, just 1 or 2 or 3 areas that they have been selected or been maintained. And that shows the kind of the intent of the delegate to make the necessary changes at the regional level, constituency level, and also the polling station level. And that is a very good strategy that is coming out after the weekend elections of the NPP. And specifically, if you are supposed to talk about Ashanti region, you can easily determine that the region is well determined to make the necessary changes to rebrand the party in the Ashanti region and to maybe to regain its kind of foothold in the politics of Ghana, especially for the NPP as their stronghold.
All right, we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. And that was Dr. Samuel Afriye, who is a political analyst. As I told you, the NPP has opened nominations for the national executive election slated for the 3rd of October 2026. And of course, we'll bring you more as and when we have the latest on it. 23 minutes past the hour of 12. Stay with us. We're back.
Riders expected, one national journey. This is more than cycling. This is Ghana in motion. 28th and 29th August. To register or participate, call or WhatsApp 0531 100927. Single 200 Ghana cedis. Group of 10 1600 Ghana cedis. Group of 5 800 Ghana cedis. 3FM Tour to Ghana 2026. Ride the rhythm. Discover Ghana. Loading. Are you ready? 3FM Tour to Ghana 2026.
Brought to you by You Fresh Juice for Telly Calipo.
2 days, 3 regions. From Accra through Kwel to Kumasi. Hundreds of kilometers of rhythm, road and discovery. Hundreds of riders expected. One national journey. This is more than cycling. This is Ghana in motion. 28th and 29th August. To register or participate, call or WhatsApp 0531 100927. Single 200 Ghana cedis. Group of 10 1600 Ghana cedis. Group
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's go to Gusau in the northern region now, where we understand an ICT laboratory, including 10 classrooms and offices at the Gusau Nursing and Midwifery Training College, have caught fire, and that happened earlier today. Firefighters, we understand, in Yendi were deployed to contain the fire. Christopher Mwakon is my colleague. He joins us live on the line. Chris, tell us more about the latest situation with the fire.
Yeah, so Beatrice, the Firefighters who came from Yendi have been able to contain the fire. As we speak, even though the ICT lab and the 10 classrooms and offices have been destroyed, but I can confirm to you that the fire has been brought under control. But the only challenge is that before the firefighters moved from Yendi to Gushegu, most of the items in the ICT lab, for instance, have been seriously damaged. But for that, if the firefighters were somewhere close to Gushegu or in the Gushegu township, they would have been able to salvage some of these things.
But no injuries, right?
Yes, so that's the fortunate thing. There were no injuries because it happened very early when the ICT lab had not been opened, including some of the classrooms.
And so far, as we speak, it's just the ICT and not any other block.
The ICT block contains some classrooms and offices. So with the offices and the classrooms, we are counting about 10, including the ICT lab.
And you told me, or you did mention that the fire service officials were there. Have there been any preliminary causes identified yet?
Yeah, they've not given us any official information yet, but the unconfirmed information is that they suspect that it could be from an electrical fault. So that is what they are suspecting, but they are still conducting their investigations. As and when they are done, they will brief us on what really caused the fire.
Indeed, thank you very much, Christopher Moako. My colleague in the northern region, bring us update on the fire that has ravaged the Gusheon Nursing and Midwifery College. We'll bring you update as and when we have it. Now, General Overseer of Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, has raised questions about the effectiveness of Ghana's laws and regulatory systems, particularly in relation to illegal mining and the gold trade. He was speaking in his church yesterday.
Pray for the gold board, and I'll tell you why. With what I was told by this sheikh and the calls I had that they can't get the gold like before illegally, so they want some channels to the gold board so they can purchase the gold now from the gold board. It's clear to me that the gold board is dealing with a very powerful movement. People very, very established who knows and understand the field and how to do this and don't want the right thing to be done. And in the name of politics, we are destroying the future of our children and our grandchildren. So I'm going to dedicate a lot of time today for us to intercede for our nation.
And you heard the Archbishop of Action Chapel International, Nicholas Duncan Williams. Let's have a quick word from Awula Sewa, who is with Eco-Conscious Citizens. Awula, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. There are those who argue that perhaps beyond preaching, maybe there could have been steps taken, especially when he has information to get those individuals caught. I wonder where you stand on this.
I mean, all I'll say is that regarding the illegal mining, we have to realize that Ghana is facing an existential threat. The clock is ticking. So, yes, we have to pray for those in authority, but we have to push them to do what needs to be done. And so, unless we want to all drop dead, this matter has been going on for a very, very long time. We are aware of it. So what are we all doing to ensure that those who can take the robust steps take them? I mean, journalists are doing their best. They are raising awareness about what is going on. But at the end of the day, the journalists cannot chase illegal miners on the Chantan from the water body. The journalists cannot remove, or civil society organizations cannot remove illegal miners from our forest reserves or our landscape. This is something that the G2 bearers alone can do. And they need to do what they need to do. And the church needs to add itself to pushing them to do what needs to be done. It's a state of emergency. Let's all demand with one voice that we have a state of emergency and clear our water bodies, our forest reserves, and our landscape from the scourge of illegal mining that is killing us slowly.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Awula Sewa. She is with Eco-Conscious Citizens. And that's it for the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to srinews.com for more news. Coming up shortly is Business Daily with Michael Obodu.
Five 800 Ghana cities. 3FM Tour to Ghana 2026. Ride the rhythm, discover Ghana. Loading. Are you ready? 3FM Tour to Ghana 2026.
Brought to you by You Fresh Juice for Telly Calipo.
2 days, 3 regions. From Accra through Kwao to Kumasi. Hundreds of kilometers of rhythm, road, and discovery. Hundreds of riders.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, oil marketing companies hold pump prices to stay competitive, grow market share, and boost profits.
There's too much competition in the industry, and for that matter, pricing your diesel higher may reduce your share in the market, and that is likely going to affect your revenue and the profitability.
Also, Finance Minister Dr. Kasia Latoforsen says the country is determined to make the 17th IMF program its last. And the government treasury bill records 8th straight oversubscription, with offers reaching 11.279 billion cedis despite a below target acceptance rate of 43.28%. I am Michael Obodu. Details of these and many other stories lined up for you. Do stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. And some oil marketing companies have refrained from adjusting their pump prices in a bid to remain competitive, increase market share, and boost profits. Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSE, Benjamin Nsia, has said his comments come as petrol prices were expected to fall by up to 5%, while diesel prices were expected to increase by about 2% from August 16, 2026. According to Mr. Nsia, the decision by most OMCs to maintain their prices is largely driven by competition in the downstream petroleum market as companies seek to attract and retain customers. The expected increase in diesel prices has been attributed largely to the depreciation of the cedi, which has raised the cost of importing petroleum products. So far, only Star Oil has adjusted its diesel prices, while the other OMCs are yet to announce changes.
A careful observation of the market this morning shows that many of the BDCs have not changed their prices, as also many of the OMCs like Akara Energy, Goel, Total, and Vivo are still maintaining their previous windows prices, and it is so because of the pass-through effect from the BDC level. The only exception in the market this morning is Star Oil, where we've seen that they also maintain their diesel price for the previous window. However, they have changed the price of petrol for this window by about 40 pesos per litre. So I think that by close of day, many of the OMCs are also likely going to change. The price of petrol is likely going to be reduced by 20 to 40 pesos depending on the OMC. However, the price of diesel is likely going to be maintained across board. It is also because, one, there's too much competition in the industry, and for that matter, pricing your diesel higher may reduce your share in the market, and that is likely going to affect your revenue and the profitability.
So that was the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSE, Benjamin Nsia speaking. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Kasia Latoforsen says Ghana is determined to make its 17th International Monetary Fund IMF program the country's last, as improved banking sector indicators, stronger private sector credit growth, and continued fiscal restraint point to a more resilient economy. In a Facebook post, the finance minister said the government was focused on restoring fiscal discipline, rebuilding confidence, and creating an economy capable of financing its own development without repeated reliance on IMF support. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details.
According to Dr. Forsen, Ghana's 17th IMF bailout must be its last. He noted that government is restoring fiscal discipline, rebuilding resilience, and working to create an economy that can stand on its own. Meanwhile, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Pandit Siama says the country's banking sector is growing signs of strengthening. He says total banking sector assets grew by 30.7% in June 2026, while the capital adequacy ratio rose sharply to 20.4% from 10.6% a year earlier. The non-performing loan ratio also fell to 16.1% from 23.1%. Dr. Isiama says easing financial conditions are supporting stronger lending, with private sector credit growth reaching 41.2% in June compared to 8.6% a year earlier. He further noted that continued fiscal discipline, revenue mobilization, and prudent debt management will be critical to sustaining the gains, protecting debt sustainability, and strengthening investor confidence. Government says these measures are key to building an economy that can sustain growth without repeated reliance on IMF support.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Away from that, government has recorded its 8th consecutive oversubscription at the Treasury Bill auction on Friday, August 14, 2026, attracting bids of about 11.3 billion cedis against an initial target of 5.993 billion cedis. The strong demand underscores the continued use of Treasury bills by government to raise short-term financing and manage its funding needs. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more.
The strong demand translates into a subscription rate of 188.21% and an oversubscription rate of 88.21%. However, government accepted 4.88 billion cedis, representing an acceptance rate of 43.28% of total bids and about 81.46% of its target. For the 91-day bill, investors offered 5.066 billion cedis, of which government accepted 4.065 billion cedis at a yield of 5.46%. The 182-day bill attracted 1.281 billion cedis in bids, with 526.44 million cedis accepted at a yield of 7.27%. Meanwhile, the 360-day bill received the strongest investor interest, with offers reaching 4.931 billion cedis. Government, however, accepted just 289.70 million cedis at a yield of 12.50%. The auction comes amid a continued decline in Treasury bill yields, even as investor demand remains robust. The results indicate that investors continued to show strong appetite for government securities despite the lower returns. Government's decision to accept below its target also suggests a continuous approach to borrowing as yields continue to ease.
Was a 3 Business News Desk report. On that note, that's how we end today's edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly check out our website at 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe.